Hi, this is SharePoint Power Hour, and this is just a show that I do Wednesdays at 11 Central, where we just go over demo things in SharePoint, Power Apps, Office 365, SharePoint Online. It is pretty much no-code solutions. That's my thing. I'm not a developer. I do have an admin background, but I love doing this live because we've got some chat going on, we've got live interactions, and you never know what's going to happen. It's just fun. So again, I'm Laura Rogers. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, and today's Power Hour is going to be about Microsoft's Power Apps. They did make a lot of interesting announcements at Ignite, and one of the things that just came out in Power Apps is a new rules pane. So that makes it easier for you to do conditional rules, to have sort of a little wizard that walks you through creating those. So I'll go over that, and I'll also go over an interesting little solution that lets you in Power Apps select multiple items from SharePoint or any other table and delete multiple items from within a nice cool little interface. So it's just a fun little trick that I'm going to teach you all today. And I'll go ahead and first of all, we'll go ahead and show you the rules pane and just show you a little just in one of my demo Power Apps and show you an example of what you can do with the rules pane. And then I'll go ahead and show you that example of how to create an interface to be able to delete multiple items in one fell swoop from within a Power App. Are you ready to get started? All right, so in the chat in Slack, iwmentor.slack.com, go to the Power Hour channel. That's where we're having our conversation about this. And I've just got a few second delay every time, but I love having a conversation with you about what I'm doing and for you to ask me questions. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I'll show you an example Power App. I was trying to decide kind of which one I wanted to show to do the conditional formatting, but I'll just do this one and just show an example of basically a field in a form and using this new rules pane to create the conditional formatting on something in a form. So I'll show you my little, this is my expense report super title. This is my expense report title. And I'm going to get to a form where I am creating sub items. This is my parent expense report. I've got the ID showing here so that you can see visually as I'm passing the ID to the new child, which we could do that in a different Power Hour. But let's see, I went to Orlando. I'm just filling in some data here just to have in the example. All right, so now I'm looking at an example and I can go view it as well. So let's go to this screen right here and format that with some conditional formatting on this place where we're displaying something. All right, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so I'll do the amount, and I'm going to do this little amount box right here, and I want to make that a different color if it's a different amount. And so we'll just do a simple conditional formatting based on that. And you can do things like have different categories, like hotel show as different colors, and you can have different icons show in different places. But we'll just do this amount and introduce the rules panel. And also Audrey did do a whole bunch with the rules panel in her live session yesterday. So this is not going to be like, one big repeat of everything she did. I want to be, showing you, in a slightly different light, I guess. So here is, I'm selecting the thing that I want to create the rule on. And I go to this new rules pane, and that is already in there. That is in Power Apps right now, as opposed to some of these SharePoint updates that are rolling out that they announced at Ignite that kind of roll out in waves across tenants. all the PowerApps updates that they announced within PowerApps are here already. The new thing with the PowerApps on a SharePoint list, that's more of a SharePoint update, because you have to get to it kind of from SharePoint, and it's got some SharePoint settings. But so this is in PowerApps, so I go to this new rules pane. Now, if you're probably wondering what used to be here, there used to be the little data section over here where it says rules. But now the stuff that was in the data section, how do you find that? That's what I'm going to show you first, because it's a little bit confusing, and this is something that I'm hoping and assuming they're going to fix over time, because it's hard to find. So if I don't have a specific like field selected like this, and I just go select like my whole form or my whole gallery or my screen, whatever it is, then I can see my little data and layout, and the data and layout buttons take you to the same exact place. But that's where that went to, if you're wondering where that, what used to be there, where the rules now are. Okay, so I'm gonna go pick my thing that I want to do a rule on, do a new rule, and this is my conditions and actions. You can't have actions without conditions. So this isn't exactly like what you had in InfoPath with your rules pane, because with your rules pane and InfoPath, you could just create actions. You didn't have to have a condition. So this is really, right now at least, it's made around a condition, and you can't change the name of your rule just yet. So my condition is going to be if it's greater than, like whatever's in this box is greater than 500. Now I can't just say value.45. It's got to be dot something dot text, probably value. Let's see, I really don't want data card 45. I want the value of that actual thing. Yeah, that's the value. Okay, data card value 45 is greater than 500. Oh, see, it wants a number because I'm using a 500 here. Okay, so I got to do value. Since I'm doing a number, it's not like it equals approve or something like that, text. Since I'm doing a number, it needs to have an actual value. So I want to get the value of something. Dot text. There we go. It's greater than 500. Okay, so that's a little complicated still. Just to be able to say the value of this thing, because it's a number, it's a little more complicated. So I get the value of what's in this thing of the text that's in this box is greater than 500, then what do I want to happen? So this is the part that's kind of interesting. It's kind of like remember macros in Word and Excel? Who remembers macros? All right, I used to love macros. I like automated my whole job, back in like 1999. So this is kind of like a macro. So when I want to define my actions, so now I'm defining my actions. Define what happens when the conditions of the rule are applied. So this, basically, you're defining what will happen when the conditions are applied. So this is where you're just sort of in this screen where you have to do something or configure something, and that will be the action. That will become the action. So if the number is greater than 500, then I want this text to be red, and now it is. So let's go ahead and click done, and now I'm done with my rule. All right, you can see I've got rule 9 over here. I can go delete it. I can go expand it. That's pretty cool. So now I can actually see the if then right here. So that red looks a little ugly on the gray, but you get the idea. So that's where I can not only change the colors of things, but I can use maybe the visible property of something to hide or show it as well, to just make something look different, maybe give it a different background, etc. This, as far as what you can do with galleries, it's a little more limited, at least right now with these. But that's how, just in general, how it works with just picking a field and defining your if statement. Yeah. Oh, cool. Valerie says she embeds the Power Apps in her modern SharePoint site. Yeah. So you don't have, it doesn't have to be mobile. So this is a mobile form, but you can do desktop size forms and just embed them on your SharePoint site. And it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to be for the phone. And this next one, this next Power App that I'm going to show you, then it's desktop size. But let's go ahead and double check that this rule is in place or that it works. So I'm going to change this number to like, I'm going to change it to 1,000. And then see, now it changed back to white. So let's go back to my app. So now I'm on that expense report. I can go click on another expense report, and I can go look at an item here, and I can see it's under 1,000, so it's fine. And this one is over 1,000 and it's red. So that's my cool little rule. I'll show you how to do the visible one as well. Let's see, what are our categories that we have? We have hotel and meal and travel expense. Okay. We could do an icon. So I'll go insert. Oh, am I on the same form? No, I'm on the edit form now. So let me go back to the form that I was on. See, this one I didn't even format for the currency right here. All right, so let's go back. Now, when I have all this complicated stuff with layering, like I have in this particular app with the cool little animation and layering, the best way that I have is to actually go back into the preview of the app to get to kind of where I want to be and then close it. And that way I don't have to go try and find things that might be under other things or hidden according to certain values, because this particular app is only 2 screens. So all those flyouts and different things I have happening are all just mostly based on conditions with only 2 screens in the whole app. Okay, so let's say if I pick a certain category, we can make it show a certain icon on here. Does that sound like a sort of a common thing that you guys might want to do? Let's see. We've got, I'm not going to spend too much time trying to find something, but I'll do, there's the one that looks like a little building or something. We could do a hotel. Dun, dun, dun. I'll pretend this is a knife and fork. Okay, so I just inserted this little icon on here, and I'm going to put it down here. And I'm going to say if the category is food, then it's going to show this little icon. So I'll go to my rules pane, do a new rule, and I'll say my condition is equal to food. Got to put it in quotes. Invalid argument type, whatever. Dot text there. Again, not very intuitive. Define actions. Let's go. And then this little icon. So if it is equal to food, then this icon visible is going to be true. Okay. All right, so visible is true, except by default, I want visible to be false. So I'll probably have to change that and make it false because it was already showing, right? See, it's not letting me define my actions because it already said true because I didn't change anything. All right, I have a good idea. Let me see. I'll change it to, let me cancel out of here. All right. Visible is false. So now it's hiding. So now that's going to be fun selecting it. We get to have a nice fun exercise in how to select something that's not showing on your form. And when I have it clicked, where is it taking me over here? That's the question. Let's see. Gotta love that. See, I lost it because I didn't have it selected. and I couldn't find it over here because I didn't name it anything. Good times. You know what? I'm going to do undo. Okay, so this thing right here, this is the thing that I need to have a good name for, right? So I have visible is nothing, so I'm going to do true. And I'm going to go find it over here. So I'll know what it's called and I give it a good name. Because then when I start hiding and showing something according to conditions, I could lose them. All right, so let's go down here. And this is icon 1, I believe. Because that's what's sort of, it's hard with the resolution that I have on this screen to be able to tell what's lit up. So I'm going to call it food icon. There we go. So now it's named. So now I'm going to change visible to false. Let's see. I'm looking at a couple of your questions. Yeah, Fausto said it'll be good once we can rename the rules. Carolyn, have a fleet vehicle reservation site. That's cool. That's a good idea. And then, yeah, Audrey actually uploaded new icons, just regular images off of her computer to PowerApps, so that she didn't have to just use those icons. So she did that. So you guys should totally go watch that. And as far as the beginning video, I have one of those in my site, and PowerApps site has those as well, just in there. They just have like a training and getting started thing, Carolyn. All right. So it's hidden. So let's go back and do my rule here. So my category is supposed to be food. So new rule. If the condition, oops, not as blank. Condition is equal to food. And I have to know to go put that the text of this value is equal to food, which is a little complicated. Why is it not done? No. This is like the third time I've done it. All right. You guys got this down pat now, right? Okay, so now I want to define my actions. Let's go. And then that's where I'm going to go select my little icon that I called my food icon, which is somewhere. Dun, dun, dun. There it is. Visible is true. There, done. Okay, see, food icon visible true, done. Okay, there's my rule. Now let's go look at my Power App. I'll close that and I'll go look at, see if I have any in here that have a category of food, and if I don't, I'll just go add one. Oh, meal is what I called it. Good grief. Okay, hold on. Ooh, that's an expensive meal. Let me submit it without a date. Yep. Okay. So meal is what I called it. So now I got to go edit my rule. So see, I put food here, and it's got to be meal. So that's how I can go edit my rule later. I did that on purpose just to show you guys. All right. So now it says meal, and now if it's a meal and we're on that form where we're looking at the item, okay, so there's my little icon that's showing. Now I had that cool little animation that slides across the page. So what I would need to do next is just like go tweak that icon so it doesn't show until the animation is finished, which is we're not going to get into that right now. All right. Let's go over to my other Power App to show you guys. You're ready to shift gears. We're going to talk about how to select multiple items and delete multiple items in a Power App. That is over here. Extend my session. Okay, I'll do a preview. First of all, I have a SharePoint list full of stuff, just a bunch of items here. Just, it could be anything. Could be a SharePoint list of anything. Could be a SQL database list of anything, but it's a list of stuff, and we want to be able to select multiple from within a Power App to be able to delete those. So let's go over here and preview that. All right, this is my SharePoint list here, and I'll just refresh it for fun. So these are all the items in the SharePoint list, showing in a gallery here from what I just, the list I just showed you. And I can select a few like this. And they're not going into the thing. And they go over here when I select them. Let me close this one. I think it got, like, it timed out, so everything like kind of got broken. Hold on. Because I had it open for a little bit right before I switched over to do Power Hour. So, all right, I'll go open that again. Okay, that one. I think I'm opening it, not editing it. Anyway. Oh, Chris, it's not doing it. Damn it. We had this all working like right before I went live, and then now it's just not putting them in the collection. Yeah, it's real awesome. You select them, and then it puts them in this little collection, and it's not doing it now. Maybe I'll open up that old one that I had that was working a minute ago. It seems a little finicky though. For it to break that easily, we could do the little button that puts a little blank one in there. Yeah, there are all my fields. Oh, they're not selected. Okay. It just wiped them out. So I think that there might be like a buggy thing that went on with like an update that just got pushed out to PowerApps, because this was working a few minutes ago and all these fields were here, and now all the fields just disappeared. So that seems a little sketchy to me, but okay. So let's go back and show you what it's supposed to do. So as I select things, it's going to put them over here, and then I click delete. And it deletes them from SharePoint. So now that was like item ID 15 and 17. I can go over to SharePoint and refresh this list. And those items are gone. It's down to only like 4 items in the list. And we'll go back over to PowerApps and go, you can see there are 4 items in the list. So again, you select things, it puts them over here in this little temporary location, and then you hit delete all, and it deletes it actually deletes the records. And I can clear out this whole table of selected things, and then of course I can refresh my gallery if I need to. If I go, you know, maybe have new things in SharePoint, I want to refresh what's listed here. Okay, does that make sense? Does that seem useful? You guys let me know. Okay, let me show you how this works. Besides the fact that the table randomly cleared itself out and all the columns disappeared, I'm not sure what that's about. We'll have to ask the PowerApps people if that's, because that's not something you would want to have in place with just columns disappearing. All right, we're using a collection. Anybody used collections, a collect action in PowerApps before? Collect, it lets you collect things and puts them in this variable, but it's not like a variable in a SharePoint Designer workflow necessarily, or it's basically, it's an entire table. A collection is a whole table of rows. So when we click to select one of these items in the SharePoint, in this gallery in PowerApps, it's actually taking that whole item from SharePoint and storing it in a collection temporarily and showing the collection over here. And then we're going and deleting all the items in the collection. Okay? You guys let me know what you think about that. You guys are very quiet. Okay. So here we have a gallery, and this is just a gallery in a Power App. And we have, I'll show you the little formatting to make it light up when you click one, but basically when I select things, it's putting them in a collection. So I have this on select. My quick little shortcut that I like going to for on select is just by going action on select instead of having to like do this whole drop down. Just quick tip. Okay, so when I select something, and this right here, this box that I have is that's just a whole big label on top of basically a little section in my gallery. So instead of making just the little arrow a button, I just stuck a label on top of this whole rectangle and made it a button. So on select, this is what it's going to do. So let's break this down into what it's actually, what kind of the purpose of what some of these things are that it's doing. Okay, let me clear my little writing there. Okay. I'm going to take that, and I've got that copied over into Notepad just for fun. So what I'm doing is I'm really just collecting. So I have this little, calling this collection, and you can name a collection right when you create it. So I'm calling this collection CTX multi-select. You can call it whatever you want. You just put a word here. And then what am I collecting? Get rid of that parenthesis. I'm collecting this item. So in a gallery, this item is the thing that I have clicked on, basically. So I'm just collecting this item. So the whole purpose of that if statement that we're putting in there is to be able to select and unselect things. We want to be able to click on something to put it in the list, in the collection, and then click on it again to toggle, to unselect it, to remove it. So that way you can click things multiple times and not have to just be stuck with having something over here to delete and then changing your mind and not having a way to get it out. So it's a toggle. So the whole idea behind this toggle is, let me put this whole thing back in here. So this is basically what I'm doing, but this whole if statement is just a toggle. Okay, so we're looking at the ID of the thing that I click on. If the ID of the thing that I click on exists in this collection, then if it exists in the collection, then we already know the ID. Then we're just storing, okay, this is the ID of this item. Otherwise, we're removing this item. And then we're basically collecting this item that we just clicked on. Okay, how do you know what's in the collection? Let's go look at that. So collections, like this mysterious thing that is invisible and just sort of exists somewhere in your Power Apps. You have the ability to view your collections and variables in here. So this is my collection right here. So this is the collection that exists right now. I don't have anything in it. And if I was using variables in my Power App, I would be able to see them in here and see what's listed. So let's go add a couple of things to the collection, and then we'll see what that looks like. So I'm going to click on it. Oh, it did it again. That is awesome. It just keeps removing those columns. Yeah. My table over here does not like having empty columns. It just keeps deleting itself. We're gonna have to figure out a workaround around that. So I've got a few things in my collection, and then let's go view the collection. So the collection, when I do the collect action, is putting them in here. So you can see now that I've got 2 rows in here. So if I can scroll all the way to the right, and it's actually grabbing those entire SharePoint list items. This is a good way to temporarily store things in your app too, right? Be able to get to them faster. So it's collecting, that's basically the whole row of both of those things that I clicked on. So it's collecting them. And so let's go look at that if statement again. So if the lookup, so it's looking up, so it's going and looking to, so I'm going to highlight just this lookup part right here. Let's see. Look up. So it's looking up, it's lovely, huh? To the collection that exists, and it's looking to see if the ID of this item that I have clicked on equals an ID that's already in the collection. Got it? This is it's kind of complicated. It's just logic though. So if you can understand logic, if you can understand rules, you should be able to grasp these concepts at least. Yeah, it is weird, Sandy. So once I have something in a collection, I'm going to look up to it. So if basically this ID I've clicked on exists in there, then I'm selecting this ID. I've got this ID. I'm holding on to it. Otherwise, if it it's going to remove that item. So if it already exists in there, then I've got the ID. Then I want to, otherwise I want to remove it. That's a really ugly little circle I put around that thing. And then collect this item. So if lookup blah 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 already exists in there. If it already exists in the collection, remove it from the collection. So that's that toggle. Otherwise, collect it. Okay? If it exists in the collection, remove it. Otherwise, add it. Okay? So let's go play this again. So as I click on things, so this ID 21, that's what just ran that if statement. If it exists in the collection, which it didn't, then it was adding it to the collection, it was collecting it. Otherwise, if it does exist, then it's removing it from the collection. See? I know I went over that a few times, but I know it's kind of complicated. So that's how that collect thing works. So again, it's a really good place to be able to store things temporarily in your app. All right, so then once I have it collected, this is how we delete things from SharePoint from within PowerApps. This action right here. So let's go like highlight that. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Color yellow. No, that didn't do any good. All right, anyway. Okay, so it's basically going for everything that exists in my collection, remove it. So this remove thing, that's how we remove things. That's how we delete things from SharePoint. This is the command to delete things from SharePoint. So what am I removing? What am I deleting from SharePoint? Go look at this list. That's the name of my SharePoint list, the name of my data source in PowerApps. And then which items am I removing? I'm removing all of those IDs that I've stored in this collection. So basically, for each thing that exists in that collection, I'm deleting it from SharePoint. For each thing that exists in here, delete it from SharePoint. And then, so this is this little semicolon, that's the next action. So when you have multiple actions in a row in PowerApps, you're putting a semicolon in between them. Like when you submit a form, you're going to do submit form, semicolon, and then navigate to some other screen. So the semicolon's just what do I want to do after this first action. So then after I do that, I'm clearing my collection. So I'm clearing it out. So then the collection's empty again. Okay, so then this is if I want to clear, just clear the selected records. If I just change my mind, I want to just clear everything, then this button says clear CTX multi-select. Again, that's the name of my collection. And then this button is just refreshing my SharePoint list. All right, so y'all got that right? Okay, so how do we make it green when we toggle between things? All right, let's go look at that next. So you would think that the fill, like the background color, is what we would need to configure for this, but it's not. It is, let me go over here to the advanced little tab and more options. Come on. Oh, where'd it go? I'm going to make sure I have the right thing selected. Oh, wait, let me see. Oh, there we go. I didn't have the right thing selected. Okay, template fill. Fill is going to fill your whole gallery. Template fill is going to fill just that thing that you have clicked on. So let's go look at this. I'll go ahead and pull it up over here. All right, template fill. That's a big if statement. So let's go break that down too. So if the ID of this item basically exists in the collection. If this ID exists in the collection, the thing, this one record in the gallery, then show it this color. Otherwise, show it this other color. So basically this is green and this is like this neutral color over here. And I could just make it say like, what is it, light green, green yellow maybe. You can actually type color names here. Gray. Let's see, maybe there's a light gray. Yeah. See, that looks a lot prettier, isn't it? Doesn't it? So template fill, if the ID exists in the collection, green, yellow, otherwise light gray. Let's go tab over and see. Oops. Go click out of here and try it. Oh, look at that. That's pretty ugly. I changed the color of it. So now as I select and unselect things, it changes the color and it adds them to the collection. I'm glad you like this. Thank you so much. Valerie said this is awesome. Let's see. Bill said, can we use the list GUID in place of name in case it is renamed, or is that the internal name? In place of name of what, Bill? Like the SharePoint list itself? I think that's what you're asking. Let's see. Okay, let me see. So I don't think that that's possible. I have a few cases actually right now, like actual projects that I'm working on, where it'd be helpful if I could just create a Power App and have like different, like have basically a site template, like a project or something, and have multiple projects all using the same Power App and all having the same lists and libraries, but be able to just have it point to the Power App, just point to a different site, different lists. So I think that's what you're asking me. Use the list GUID in place of that, like for the actual SharePoint list. I don't know of how that would be possible, because when we do these connections, these data sources, it's just got the name of it showing here. Yeah, Bill says the name of the list. It's just basically it's not the name of the list necessarily, Bill. It's the name of what I called this connection when I created it. So I'm not sure how, like this has just got this little pretty UI around it. So I'm not sure how that's stored and if it would be possible to put some sort of variable around it. Yeah, because yeah, that would be nice to be able to just point this to a different list, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. All right, so that's how we do collections, and like this table is a little ugly, so let's see who gave the gift. I can rename this. Actually, display name. Who gave the gift? And then see, this is nicer looking. Date gift was given. And then since we have a little bit of time left, I'm going to try and get this to not like keep blanking itself out. So let's see, estimated value, because we don't want to have to keep adding the columns to our little collection. Oh, by the way, this thing over here, this whole box is basically a table that let me click one of these. It's a table that's the data of the table is the collection. So that's one thing that I didn't show you guys yet. So let's go look at that. Let's see. I want to be able to click on this. There we go. See, it's hard to get this new little data / layout thing to show up sometimes, because it only shows when you have the whole gallery selected or the whole form selected and not a particular item in it. Again, I think and hope that's something they're just going to fix soon. So for my data, see, I don't have a SharePoint list showing this table. This data in this other in this table is just the collection. So I wonder if I could probably use a gallery to do the same thing. So let me try that just for fun. I'm going to remove a couple of these columns and make it there we go. I'll just put a couple of them in there. Okay. And I'm going to make it just narrower. And then I'm going to put a gallery in here. Because I don't know, maybe the table is buggy, just the table control itself, or the collection being empty is what's causing it to be buggy. So we're about to find out. I'm going to do a blank gallery here, and instead of, again, not picking my SharePoint list, I'm just going to pick my collection. So what do I want as the title? Let's see. Let's do title and subtitle. The title of my collection is going to be the title of the SharePoint, of the item that it's collected, and who gave the gift. So now I've just got two fields showing, and it's way over here. Let me move that whole thing. See, now it's basically showing the same items like that. So now when I unselect them, ooh, that's cool. See, either a table or a gallery can just be showing a list of something that's either in a SharePoint list or a database or Twitter or a collection or anything. Okay, so let's go try and break it again. And before I break it though, I'm going to create a button that is just going to collect something. Collect in here and just put like a 1 or a 0. I don't know, there. Just in case, because maybe it being empty, you know, is what breaks it. So I'll save this and go back out and in like I did right at the beginning of this demo, and then see what happens. All right, close. Open it again. So you guys are learning some good, pretty advanced stuff now. This is good, like learning about variables and collections, because this is up a few notches, right? FYI, you can go to PowerApps.com and they have a whole learning section in there for learning basics. All right. So let's go see if we broke it again. And no, see, now I try to break it and I can't break it. That's awesome. So if I do this little button and just collect something, so it just collects just a blank, basically a blank row that's just got a 0 in it. But you can see that it added a row to the collection. Yeah. Clear. So it cleared the whole table. And no, I can't break it. That's so funny. Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened with it. Oh, a bug report. Oh, Sandy found a bug report. Thank you, Sandy. Data table control loses fields as of 2.0.69. So yeah, so it is the table that broke. So it is not me. I didn't do something silly. It's the table. So I've always liked galleries better than tables anyway, because I mean, technically you can make a gallery look like a table and have columns and all that. It's just tables are just faster to configure, because then you just check all the boxes and they immediately show a bunch of items. But let's see. Okay, so a little overview of what I went over today is I went over the rules pane and how to, you know, go select a particular control or an item or icon, and how to be able to use the rules pane to say, under a certain condition, do this, make something a certain color, or hide and show it. And then I showed how you can use a collection, how to collect things, specifically collect things from a SharePoint list, and then also how to just create these little controls that let you collect things, put them in a collection, remove them from the collection, and then how to delete all those things in the collection from SharePoint. All right, so now let's go over, that's pretty much the end of, if those of you who were watching live and just wanted to see the demo, that's pretty much the end of what I was going to demo. But we got a few minutes this time to be able to talk a little bit about some of the things that you have in the ideas channel and plan something out. So next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Laura teaches Dad PowerApps. I'm going to teach my dad PowerApps. So that'll be fun. Speaking of beginner lessons, right? So I'm going to be teaching my dad PowerApps next week, live on Power Hour. And let's see what other kind of ideas you guys have in here. So let's go look at that. So what I've done in here, just real quick, is that you can pin things to these channels. So let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. 7 pinned items. This one, I did a whole thing on Bing Maps. I'm kind of like marking these off as I do it. Parent-child relationship and PowerApps. I showed how to do that when I did the cascading lookups. When did the cascading lookup concept. So I guess it's a little bit, it's using the same concept when you do parent-child, like that expense report, but it's the same little, basically that setting that I had to put with the weird cryptic code that I had to put in my drop down to pass that value to the other item. Auto-populate user data. Sure, we can do that. Let's see. Calculated columns. Mobile apps built with PowerApps directly from the list they're connected to. Well, that exists already, by the way. That is changing now. So we'll wait and demo that when it's in production, when I can show that. So let's see what else we have in ideas. Teams update post ignite. That's a good idea. I'll pin that one. Thank you. And then auto escalating to someone's manager if they're not responded to a request within X hours. That's a good idea. Yeah, because I was showing the mail tips stuff in one of the Power Hours a few weeks ago. But yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, go ahead and put a blog post together on that, Eddie. Let's see. Flow switch cases. Ooh, I've never used flow switch cases, Eddie. Sounds like you're going to have to explain switch cases to us. Let's see. So I think that's, yeah, so all the kind of topics in here, I've put over here. And what I want you guys to do is go to these topic suggestions, and what you do is you do this little reaction thing. So you add a reaction and you give it a thumbs up or a smiley face, and that way the things that have a lot of reactions, that's how you're voting on things, okay? So the reactions are fun too, just kind of like, you know, thanks Sandy, got it. Appreciate that. Just anything people, you know, it's just one of those Slack things that's fun to use, just little reactions. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just put your ideas in here. I'm teaching PowerApps to my dad next week. That'll be entertaining. And let me go ahead and switch back over here. Thanks everybody for coming. I really appreciate all your feedback. It's fun having this conversation with you while we're doing Power Hour. And you guys go check out iwmentor.com. Me and Joelle and the team, we spent months putting all this content together and putting it in, like we completely revamped our training site. And so we have a subscription model. We have all these actual walkthrough modules where you have achievements and progress and certificates and all that. It's just the whole learning system all online where you can go through all of my videos on how to do things and demos. And I've got beginner, power user, and my good old workflows and forms content that's from building business solutions, basically in classic without having any particular form solution, or not having PowerApps, not having InfoPath. But the idea though is that the modern web parts, you can't do connection. You still can't do web part connections yet. So all the stuff that I teach in that building business solutions stuff on how to build dashboards and connect web parts, and it's still not possible in modern. So if you'd like to learn that, or if you're on premises and you're not going to have Power Apps, then all that content is out there. And I appreciate you supporting me and spreading the word. iwmentor.com. Thanks, everybody. I will see you next week. Over and out.